I was fired for costing the company $50,000 a year. 3 weeks later, the FAA grounded their entire fleet. I worked in aviation compliance for 8 years. Not glamorous work, no spotlight, no praise, just rules, paperwork, and 1,000 tiny decisions that prevent disasters no one ever hears about. If everything goes right, nobody notices. If one thing goes wrong, it's front-page news. I liked it that way. I worked for a mid-sized charter airline in the U.S. We handled private corporate flights, medical transports, and occasional international charters. Not a giant airline, but big enough that mistakes could cost lives. My job: designing and maintaining safety protocols, FAA documentation, audit preparation, emergency compliance procedures. In simple words, I was the person who made sure the company didn't get shut down. Or worse, things were smooth for years. Then leadership changed. New executives came in, new culture, new priorities, less safety, more profit. Then came the new vice president. Fresh suit, perfect smile, finance background, didn't know aviation, didn't try to, but he knew numbers. And apparently, numbers mattered more than anything else. Our first meeting was a budget review. I walked in with documentation, compliance requirements, safety renewals, inspection timelines, FAA updates. He skimmed for maybe 20 seconds. Then leaned back, and laughed, not politely, dismissively. He tapped my report and said, This is expensive fluff." I blinked. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. He kept talking. "You're costing us over $50,000 a year in compliance overhead. Manuals, audits, training refreshers, emergency simulations. Half of this isn't even used." I tried to explain. "Sir, these are federally required. If we don't maintain them." He waved his hand. "I've run numbers for years. Companies overspend on what if scenarios. We need efficiency, not paranoia." That word, paranoia, in aviation, I felt my stomach drop. For the next week, he cut. Training hours reduced, audit consultants removed, backup compliance systems delayed, emergency scenario drills canceled. Every meeting ended the same way. "This is not life or death." I kept repeating quietly. "In aviation, it is." But he didn't listen. 3 weeks later, he called me into our. No warning, no discussion, just a folder on the table. Termination notice. Reason: role redundancy and cost optimization. $50,000 saved annually. That was my value. I looked at the paper. Then at him. He didn't look uncomfortable. Didn't look guilty. He smiled like he'd solved a business puzzle. "We appreciate your contribution, but we're streamlining operations." I nodded. No arguing. No begging. Just done. I packed my desk silently. Manuals I built over years stayed. Systems I designed stayed. Compliance architecture I created stayed. Because technically, they belong to the company. But one thing didn't. The encrypted framework I personally coded for internal FAA audit preparation. The access logic. The layered compliance mapping. The emergency documentation tree. It wasn't just files. It was the system that connected everything. And only I knew how it actually worked. I walked out. No speech. No drama. Just silence. 3 weeks passed. I was interviewing. Relaxing for the first time in years. Sleeping properly. Then my phone rang. Former coworker. Voice shaking. "Have you seen the news?" My stomach dropped. "What happened?" "FAA audit." Pause. "They grounded the entire fleet." I turned on the TV. There it was. Headline: Charter airline operations suspended indefinitely pending compliance verification. My former company. Grounded. All aircraft. No departures. No revenue. Clients stranded. Contracts canceled. Millions bleeding. Every day. I started getting texts. Old teammates. Maintenance leads. Operations managers. Panicked. They can't find the compliance mapping. The audit trail is incomplete. The training documentation isn't syncing. The emergency procedure index is broken. Because it wasn't broken. It just wasn't being maintained. And the person who maintained it was gone. That evening, my phone rang again. Unknown number. I answered. Silence at first. Then his voice. The VP. No confidence this time. No arrogance. Just tension. "Hey, We need to talk. I stayed quiet. He continued. The FAA is asking for compliance codes and audit pathways. The system isn't unlocking correctly. We need your access credentials. There it was. No apology. Just need. I asked calmly. You fired me, remember? He hesitated. This is bigger than that. The entire fleet is grounded. I knew. He kept talking. We just need the codes so we can restore the compliance tree and respond to the FAA. I leaned back. 8 years of stress, late nights, emergency drills, paperwork, being called paranoid, being called expensive fluff. All of it flashed in my head. I asked one question. Did you replace me? Silence. Then, no, of course not, because safety roles don't show profit until they're gone. He tried again. Look, we can compensate you. Consulting fee, temporary support, whatever it takes. Now there was urgency. Now there was respect, because now there was a problem. I let him talk. He offered numbers, hourly rate, short-term contract, immediate payment. Then finally, we really need your help. I paused, and replied calmly, sorry, I'm just expensive fluff. Silence, heavy silence. Then he exhaled slowly, and for the first time, he said it. I made a mistake. That moment mattered more than money. Not revenge, recognition. Because aviation doesn't forgive ego. It punishes it, hard. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I asked, is the safety team still intact? Yes. Have drills resumed? Number. Has the compliance budget been restored? We're working on it. There it was. Still thinking in cost. Still not learning. I said quietly, then you don't need me. You need a mindset change. He didn't argue, because he knew I was right. The grounding lasted weeks, millions lost, reputation hit, clients moved elsewhere, the board stepped in, and eventually, he was gone, quietly, no announcement, just replaced. 2 months later, I got another call. Different tone, professional, respectful, new leadership. They didn't ask for codes first. They asked for a meeting. They asked about rebuilding systems. They asked about safety culture. They asked what went wrong. And they listened, really listened. I returned, not as an employee, as a consultant, with authority, with budget control, with a direct reporting line to leadership. And one rule, safety decisions don't go through finance. Ever. We rebuilt everything. Training restored, audits automated, compliance layered, emergency systems updated, FAA satisfied, fleet flying again, slowly, carefully, correctly. Months later, during a company meeting, the new CEO said something I'll never forget. Safety isn't a cost center. It's the foundation of trust. Without it, we don't have a business. And for the first time in years, everyone in the room understood. People always think disasters happen suddenly. They don't. They build quietly, ignored warnings, cut corners, dismissed experts, chased savings, until one day, the system stops. That VP saved $50,000 a year. And it cost the company millions. Grounded flights, lost contracts, legal risk, brand damage, and most importantly, it could have cost lives. I still work in aviation compliance today. Still invisible, still unnoticed, still doing expensive fluff. And that's exactly how I like it, because if people notice my work, it means something has already gone wrong. But every now and then, when a new executive walks in with spreadsheets and big ideas, I tell them one story about a company that tried to save $50,000 and nearly lost everything, and I end with one sentence. Quietly, calmly, firmly. In aviation, safety isn't an expense. It's survival.